All right, Sulem Urbina Soto, thank you very much for returning to theboxingbar.com, and thank you very much for being here once again.
No, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here with you again.
Sulem, it's been almost 2 years since the last time we talked, and at that time we talked about your childhood, how you got into boxing, and what you were doing in the sport at the time. Are you ready right now, would you say, for all the tournaments that are about to come towards you to compete for the Mexican Olympic team for the next year's games?
Oh well, I feel that boxing is a very hard sport, and as you start growing, it only gets harder because your competition gets harder. But I feel that I'm at the elite level. I feel ready. I feel confident in what I've learned over the last few years, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to take on whatever comes my way.
When you say you're ready, and in these last few years, how much better do you think you've got physically and mentally?
Physically, I'm able to adapt a little more to each style. I competed a lot more international, so I feel a lot stronger. My speed definitely developed a lot more these last few years. Mentally, is just I'm at the point where I'm not afraid of anything or anyone, and I'm not afraid of anything. I go in there and I'm gonna work my butt off and win, and that's all that's on my mind. I think mentally I've worked too hard to just turn back now, and I have to give it my all. So I'm all in right now.
And I, just like the world, was saddened to hear the death of your brother in September of 2013 due to a terrible criminal act. You know, it made worldwide news. A few weeks back, you did the difficult thing by having to speak in court before the sentencing of one of the guys. He received 25 years in prison. The other awaits sentencing. Do you and your family, do they feel just at the moment? Do you feel some kind of closure?
You know, honestly, with the way my brother was, it's something really hard to go through. My brother had a really bright future, and not only that, but his attitude, the way he was a very loving person, and it's not something we can get over. I mean, it's already been past a year, but I feel that we will forever be mourning his loss. And even though the guy was sentenced to 25 years, it will not in any way be enough for us to live without my brother for an entire lifetime, for me to see my parents suffering every single day, to see my youngest brother missing Alexis. So it's not, you really don't get closure. I felt relieved that I went and stepped up in court and spoke to the criminal that did this to my brother, because had I not done that, I believe I would have been regretting it. But I'm happy that he's not out there hurting other innocent people and, committing crimes. That's the best thing out of it all.
Very true. And you said since then that, everything that would happen to you in the sport, you were going to dedicate to Alexis, as he shared the same dream as yours, and he was hoping to make the USA team. That could be added pressure to someone. How are you planning to take all this negativity that happened and channel it into something positive for your career and I guess even your life in general?
When all this happened with Alexis, before it happened, I used to think boxing was so hard. I used to think it was the hardest thing ever because I felt like I was a natural athlete. My strength was there and I could work out for days, but I didn't feel like I was a natural boxer. So I had to I thought boxing was so hard. And when all this happened with my brother Alexis, and my world collapsed, and my family, everything changed with my family, and I realized boxing isn't hard. Life is hard. Life has such hard lessons that, boxing to me became my out. Every time I step into the gym, I feel relieved. I feel more relaxed. Every time I fight, I feel happy. Boxing became my sanity, and I no longer fear if I lose. I don't fear anything like that because to me, fear is losing a family member. Fear is having somebody hurt close to me. Boxing to me is just, it's something that I love to do, and I'm a gym rat, so I love being in the gym, and that's what happened ever since Alexis left. Boxing became more of a passion for me, and it became my out to all this craziness outside in the world. And I'm just really happy that I stuck with it, even though all this happened. I stuck with it, and I don't feel pressure at all. I'm gonna give it my all, and whatever happens, I'm not gonna regret it. I know that I gave it a good run, and I'm just not gonna give up.
That's great to hear. The first thing I thought about when, I heard this news was in our first interview that we did. Of course, she was still around, and, I remember asking you a question about your family, and you brought up your two older brothers, and then you said, but your two younger brothers are the ones that you used to watch out for, look out after the most. And that's the first thing that came to mind. So it made everything a lot more sad when I heard about it. Us Latinos are very spiritual people. Do you still feel him around, like he's still around, that he's watching over you? Do you still feel some of that sometimes?
I don't know if you've seen pictures of our boxing gym, but we have pictures of Alexis all around our gym, and he was a great role model to a lot of the kids in the gym and to myself. And anytime I feel like giving up, because sometimes some days are just harder than others, and some days it's hard to focus without him. But I look up at his pictures and I just give it that extra push, and I definitely feel that he's with me. Sometimes when I go on my runs, we would always run together. So I definitely feel that he runs alongside with me sometimes, and I can still picture him in the gym. Sometimes I hear his voice. It's not something that leaves you right away, and I hope it never leaves me, because I feel that I carry him with me everywhere I go. Every tournament I compete in, I feel like he's right there by my side, and that's what keeps me happy. Sometimes when I don't feel that he's around, I get extremely depressed. So I'm happy that I feel his presence, and I have people around me that knew him, and it makes it so much easier for me to go day by day training.
Does it make you run that extra mile or do that extra push up also? Does it motivate you like that?
Definitely. When I'm sparring, we have this huge picture close to the ring, and when I'm sparring and I look at it and I tell myself, Alexis and I would always, touch hands and touch gloves, and we would say, "Team Urbina, let's go." And I remember that, and I say I gotta push myself, I gotta go harder, and I do. I managed to do it, and it's all thanks to him, because he motivates me.
And speaking of family, your husband Andrews is also a member of your team. What is it like to work alongside your husband in a career like this one?
Well, since we started our relationship, I was actually his boxer first, and our relationship just came out literally out of nowhere. We right away we set our boundaries that whatever happens in the gym is in the gym. Home we're husband and wife. In the gym he's my coach. It's like having two different personalities. So we really don't mix the two. Of course, he is a lot harder on me. He's a lot more strict on my diets and pushing me, training longer hours and just a lot more. But that's just how he was from the start with me. So I appreciate it, and I know there's no other man that would put up with my lifestyle, the way I travel so much, and I know there's no other woman that would put up with his, because he also travels a lot and travels with Team USA and pros and a lot of other amateur kids. So I think we're like the perfect combination. We support each other, we push each other, and we get what's best out of each other.
You guys understand each other because of your lifestyles.
Definitely. He knows when I'm extremely tired, and he'll help me out, and I understand when he has to travel, and I don't. I say go for it, and we're a really good team together.
Women's boxing is still trying to get over for whatever reason. Do you think there's been a change or a difference in women's boxing in these last few years or so?
Well, honestly, last year I spent most of the year in Mexico City, and I was amazed at how huge women's boxing is over in Mexico City. You'll step into a gym and you will see so many pros, amateurs, everything, and it's huge in Mexico. And it's really upsetting seeing that I come back to the U.S. and nothing in the U.S. has changed. I mean, in Mexico City, there's cards headlined by women boxers, and in the U.S., we still can't manage to get a girl fight on Golden Boy top rank shows or, anything. And it's a shame, because women work so hard, and we go out there and we give it our all, and we're not recognized for it here in the U.S. But it's really a beautiful thing to witness in Mexico City, because I went to a few of Jackie Navas's fights in Mexico City, and the crowd, the following, Mariana Juarez. That's beautiful, and I wish we had that here in the U.S. And we just got to keep pushing for it. We can't give up and keep moving forward.
Does fighting to go into the Mexican Olympic team, does that kind of help you out too because it's so big, like you said in Mexico? Do you think it'll be a big positive for that region once you decide to become professional? You think it'll give you a big push for that region?
Definitely. Last year competing in the Central American Games, I received a lot of exposure, both on newspapers, radio, TV, and I know definitely once I decide to turn pro, which I'm really eager to do so, I believe it's really going to help me, and everybody's going to know my background, and I'm hoping that it's a big difference, and I can headline a lot of those cards in Mexico City someday. So that's what I'm excited for.
And without holding back and being shy about it, what do you think your chances of making the 2016 Mexican Olympic team? Do you think they're very good?
Honestly, I believe so. I ended up third this year in the Americas. I think I just got to keep working hard. If I end up in the top two spots at the Continental Championship next February, I'll qualify for the Olympics. I got to keep working hard. There's USA, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. They're all really strong countries. Brazil, of course, too. And I feel that my biggest competition is USA, but I feel like I can do it, and I'm just going to keep working hard for it. It's hard, but it's not impossible. I'm keeping my mind positive, and I'm aiming for that ticket in February of 2016.
Well, I hope you do make that team with all that motivation and skills that you have. And once again, thank you very much for coming on to theboxingbar.com. And we always appreciate your time. And I hope maybe next year, when everything gets closer to the Olympics, you can come back on and let us know how you're doing.
Oh, definitely. Thank you for having me. I love being on your show, so anytime, we're always in contact.